Accurate.
As always, accurate.
We're good, Tom? Call the Midland County Board of Commissioners meeting to order Tuesday, February 5th, 2019 at 9 a.m. John, would you call roll, please?
Commissioner Snyder?
Here.
Commissioner Glazer?
Here.
Commissioner Terwilliger?
Here.
Commissioner Geisler? Commissioner Dorian?
Here.
Commissioner Nosen?
Here.
Chairman Bone?
Here. Next, we'll ask Commissioner Terwilliger to lead us in the invocation and the pledge, please.
Father in heaven, bless us as we gather today for this meeting. Guide our minds and our hearts so that we will work for the good of our community. Teach us to be generous in our outlook, courageous in face of difficulty, and wise in all of our decisions. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for January 15th, 2019.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend approval of the minutes.
I would support that.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Okay, we will approve the minutes for January 15th of 2019 and move on to the acceptance of the bills.
Properly addressed general bank claims approved in the amount of $395,696.49. Total general fund expenditures, $13,551.20. Properly addressed general bank claims approved in the amount of $395,696.49.
Oh, the same one.
Sorry. Second one. Properly addressed general bank claims approved in the amount of $1,201,085.94. Total general fund expenditures, $270,185.98. Properly addressed general bank claims approved in the amount of $1,024,434.28. Total general fund expenditures of $92,291.01. Properly addressed general bank claims approved in the amount of $302,687.37. Total general fund expenditures of $131,649.77.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend we pay the bills.
Support. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the same. Okay, we will pay the bills, and those bills were for the month of January 2019. And we're now going to move on to the special program of the day, which is we have Becky Church from the Midland Business Alliance here, and I believe Tony Stamas will be joining us at some point, who's the CEO of the Alliance.
He is the new CEO, which many of you know him. And for the record, in this 2018, we had 3 CEOs, so we hope to keep Tony around for a very long time with everything that's happening. But there is a presentation that would be easier than me just talking. But in front of you, actually, for a takeaway, and I have an electronic version of it, is basically a snapshot of some of the things that we did in 2018 as your economic developer. And then a description of the Midland Business Alliance, because a lot of people is wondering, what is the Midland Business Alliance? And as we've been talking about it for the last couple of years, it is the Chamber of Commerce in Midland tomorrow coming together under one umbrella with our other entities, the MidCon, which is our IT group, our collection agency, and our innovation center. We, on the backside of the accounting, we still have our foundation, which is now called the Midland Business Alliance Foundation. We will do our nonprofit and all of our work through that foundation. But as a consortium of staff, we say we work for the Midland Business Alliance now. And if there's any questions going on about that, I can always offline discuss how it works. But we do have Chairman Bone on that. Bridget is on it, and then we still staff your Economic Development Agency of the County of Midland, the 338 organization, and we have 2 commissioners on that board as well. So you're well represented in our group. So we'll get started. I was trying to procrastinate.
Looks like it's you, Becky.
So in the Alliance, when we came together, we actually realized we're representing 3,100 companies in the County of Midland. And that's more than 50,000 employees that we represent just in the county of Midland. Our mission, which has been taken between all of our entities and combined into one, is to support the attraction, development, and growth of the businesses throughout Midland County, providing this portfolio and tools of resources from beginning startup to a mature company. Our vision is to lead our business community in a unified voice, creating that environment where businesses and the community prospers as well. I don't know where I'm looking to click my head. Our value proposition, we had the board come together and we've lined out what our value proposition is for the MBA. And again, this is on the sheet that I handed out to you. But again, it's this very simple, an integrated business hub with all of our resources coming together. And this is some of our value propositions: to boost our innovation and entrepreneurship, to attract businesses and the talent, promote and retain business expansion and growth. And we want to advocate for our business, providing business services, like I said, a hub of one, and the resources to advance our community. Do you want to jump in, Tony? So Tony Stanis, our CEO.
Thanks, Becky.
Thanks,
Morning,
Becky.
Tony. I'm going to turn it right back to her in just a minute. We really appreciate the opportunity to be here with you this morning. And, you know, I know Becky's visited with you before, and I'm a couple months into this role with the Midland Business Alliance. But, you know, this whole concept about, you know, where Midland's going, what we look like in 2025, kind of generated this discussion with respect to the Midland Business Alliance. And you know, the question was, what's our business community need? Now, I know many of you know, my family's had the restaurant here for 58 years, and I always say, you know, we're the prototypical American immigrant story, Greeks who came here and opened an Italian pizza shop. But we've got such a wide diversity of business, from small businesses to, you know, large corporations that are global. And so, you know, how do we represent that from the Midland Business Alliance perspective? And so that's really, in 2018 was the conversation that was had with the community. And we came out of it with some specific recommendations. And so, you know, it looked at really 4 strategies in terms of where we need to be focused. One, innovation. We are, I think there's still great pride. We are the city of modern explorers. And so, you know, when we look at that, okay, in terms of that next generation, those seeds, whether it's the high school student who has that great idea, whether it's someone who's retired from Dow who has that great idea, how do we assist them in terms of getting a business idea, concept in the infancy? How do we help them to move that forward? And so that was strategy 1, innovation. Strategy 2, you know, that we are so honored to have the partnership with the county on and with the city of Midland on, is economic development, growing, retaining, attracting jobs to our community. You know, certainly we want to continue to help those businesses that are here. We also are always looking to diversify. Now, I'm a big believer in the idea of economic gardening. How do we grow businesses from within? I mean, the reality is most of the job growth we're going to see are businesses that are here, that were started here, or have a connection here to the community. And so, you know, that's really where we're focusing the team, and Becky will talk more about that strategy as she's leading the charge in terms of that effort. And thirdly, talent. You know, in my previous role, we'd travel around the state and we'd ask small business owners, what keeps you up at night? And invariably, the number one thing was talent. Finding people, keeping them, getting the right skill set in terms of working at that business and making that connection. And so that's a conversation that we think is critical for our community. Now, like I said, we're not unique. You know, whether it's Marquette, Detroit, Grand Rapids, you hear the same conversation. And frankly, I think whether it's Phoenix or Miami or New York, you hear that conversation as well. But what tools do we need in place in terms of helping people? You know, we all want to have that, the kids and family see opportunities here, but we also need to attract people to come into our community. And we've got, you know, those of us that live here and know it, see how many things are there. Well, we need to make sure we're helping others to see that, connecting with those individuals and bringing them in here into our community. And then lastly, we work in advocacy as well. When we look at, you know, issues that affect the business community on the local level, on the state level, and on the federal level, we've taken that piece that, you know, was the Midland Chamber, and we still want to make sure that we're communicating that on issues that are important. You know, oftentimes those issues that are discussed in the public policy issue can have a profound impact, whether it's the decisions or in many cases the non-decisions. And so we want to make sure that we're speaking as a voice for our community with those issues. So that kind of gives you a sense of the organization. You know, Becky was kind of giving you the broad overview of who we've talked about. We've put these pieces together. And, you know, when we sit together on our Monday morning meetings and we're talking about strategies and everything, it seems like every time there's some connection that maybe we wouldn't have made before, you know, in terms of what had been traditional chamber staff saying, well, you know, there's this economic development opportunity, or, you know, economic development team saying, you know, there's this business need for a local business that, you know, we may be able to help with some of our traditional programs. And so, you know, I already see that connection, and I think we're going to provide better value for the community in terms of providing that voice. So it gives you a little overview of the organization. Becky had kicked it off so well, and I'll let her go and kind of speak to the economic development piece, the strategy 2 piece.
Okay. Well, we've gone through the strategy, as Tony stated, and the different kinds that we're going to be working on. And the 5th one is integrating this MBA organization. Taking the organization and actually, like I said, taking all the entities and coming in and being one for the community instead of different entities doing different things. Our objectives, we actually sat down with Sarah Opperman and the board of directors of all of our boards before we came together, and we looked at the strategies of where do we want to be in 2025, where do we want to be in 2021, and just working through those plans and metrics for this year and the years going forward. So as Tony said, we're going to work on innovation and entrepreneurship. We actually have an innovation center here in Midland County. It is on Main Street, and it sits about 24 people that we can have there. We want to start utilizing that as a group, and we have the staff now dedicated to it. We have 2 people who are there. We've actually moved in our small business and our MyPros into that hub, as we can start utilizing that as a baseline to get people into our innovation center. We're going to attract, our objective in 2021 is to attract, retain, and expand businesses. That has always been our key thing, and we're going to still collaborate with the Great Lakes Bay Region Alliance, who has presented to you before about our attraction efforts. But we're also going to be looking at 10 years out as to what does our business want and how are we going to grow? How is it that our community wants to grow our businesses? We're going to continue to be strategically engaged in this board, in the city councils, in our townships, but aligning to make sure that we are here representing the business community and the community as a whole. We're going to be continuing to assist. Again, we're going to be diversifying. Our largest employer, Dow Chemical, is not only our largest employer. After April, they will be our 2nd largest, but Mid-Michigan Health will be. So what we need to diversify in the medical field, we need to diversify our community, and that's what our goal is going to be, and that's what we're going to target in 2021. Our talent, as Tony stated, it is a national issue. I have traveled and talked to different economic developers, and the talent is everywhere you look. We're going to work on this and really hone in and have one individual on our team focus on what talent, what is it that they need, and provide the training resources, both the talent side and the employer side. And then Diane Middleton, who has worked, many of you know, on the advocacy side. This will be, again, we're going to be working on our local, our state, and our federal, where it makes sense for us to be, and finding that baseline of where we need to be going forward. And as I said, the integration of the business hub. This has been a work in progress. We are actually moving our office around with our existing assets in our building and trying to align where everyone can work together and fully integrate all of our resources. So the results. Each year I come to you and give you results, and we have tried different snapshots of how we can do it. And going forward, the biggest thing we can provide to you are some of the numbers that we work with. We have worked with 79 different startup and entrepreneurs in the county of Midland who have actually created 14 new jobs in 2018. We've worked with our retention. We spend 80% of our time on retention visits with existing businesses in the community, asking them day in and day out, what are the barriers, what keeps you up at night? And our trends are our inventory, our expansion, and then our talent. So we were able to capture about $16 million in new investment. There's actually 154 projects that was recorded in our office that we've worked on. And that's a combination effort of not just our office, but the Innovation Center. and the entire county as a whole. So we went on 45 retention visits that netted 138 new jobs just out of the retention visits with existing. We were able to capture some job training grants through Michigan Works with our existing businesses. And this year it has actually doubled for 2019. And we assisted 6 companies who were able to get state contracts to advance their businesses. As many of you know, we worked up in Coleman this year a lot. They were able to work on their lagoon system, and we assisted with that grant a lot. We are actually revisiting Coleman with the lagoon system to see how we can work on some more growth in that area. We were able to secure through the funding that we manage at the Innovation Center over $100,000 for startups. These are startups that our goal is to spin them out and put them in our community, not let them leave the community, but be here. We have been working pretty heavily on the real estate side of things. As many people know, Dow Chemical has donated property to us in the past, and as our job to do that when Dow does that is to turn it around and create economic growth out of it with businesses. And we have been able to sell property on the Waldo Avenue corridor where the residential properties used to be. And so we were able to get that, turn it around, and sell it to existing businesses in the area. You've probably seen it on our Facebook page and our LinkedIn. We've been putting it out there pretty heavy. But that is a win for us, not just securing funding and stuff, but taking existing businesses in the county and placing them back in our county. They wanted to be here, and they're bringing the other parts of their business to us. So we have also, with our IT company, secured funding to put nonprofits onto our fiber connection. That is a big step for our nonprofits. They're businesses in our community that we service as well. So what are we going to do going forward? We've talked a lot about the 4 strategies. You're going to hear about them year in and year out from us, and you'll probably get tired of it. Sometimes I'm thinking about these strategies in my sleep. But they all come together. This is part of business growth, attracting talent, attracting businesses. And in order to have these, we have taken our team and actually focused them on these 4 different pillars. So this year alone, in 2019, again, we're going to be doing this building awareness in the Innovation Center. Melissa, everywhere she goes, she makes everyone raise their hands of how many people know we have an Innovation Center here in Midland. Bridget. Stop by and see it. You guys are more than welcome. I'll give you a tour. If not, Tony will give you a tour. But our Blue Water Angels are housed in there. Our Small Business Development Center is housed in there. Like I said, our My Pros are in there. You can use the conference room. You can drop in. It is a collaboration effort that we need everyone to go through it at least one time to see what it is. So we're going to continue to collaborate on the entrepreneur side with our education. So right now, where we're located at, we have the benefit that our co-locator is Northwood University Admissions. So we get to build off that relationship and spur that development with those students. And those students, you would be amazed at how many there are. I think I've actually talked to over 50 of them. They have spun out of DECA, which a lot of people are familiar with DECA. They have actually started women affinity groups at the college level. They have actually engaged our retirees out of the Dow Corning Center to engage them and have them come into the Innovation Center. So we're going to keep on utilizing that mentorship with them. And it's not just limited to Northwood. We have reached out to CMU and SVSU and Delta College. So that really folds into building that robust pipeline to get those businesses, people who have an idea, to get them active and get them to know that there's resources in the community to spin out in. And this is the big one where we have most of our staff actually aligned. We have 6 staff members who are actually working on attraction, retention, and expansion of businesses. We will be fully integrating our 10-year plan, and hopefully our goal is to actually roll out a draft of this plan by the end of 2018 of what our businesses look like. Continuing our relationship with the government entities.
2018?
2019, I think.
2019. We're only in February. Do I get a break? No, yes. So So we are going to continue our engagement. We actually have equivalent to 1.5 people who are doing retention visits now on our industrial manufacturing, but we also have the equivalent of a 1 full-time person working on retail restaurants. We will be focusing and breaking off, and then the rest of us will be overseeing it and pitching in, and really a one-time equivalent of a person working on full-time attraction. So that means we have to leave the community to attract businesses to come to us. And we're going to continue to foster our relationships with the other MBA organizations. Things that typically haven't been relationships in the economic development but have been in the chamber, we're blending them and taking down the silos and creating one unified entity. Talent in economic development, we work a lot in talent. That is, we have a clearinghouse of just different avenues that people can go to get resources for the talent. We're going to continue that. That is something that just because there is one person who's dedicated to it, they're just accountable for it. We're all doing it. We are walking billboards of our resources of what we have for talent. We are focusing on our veterans. Any resource that we can get a veteran approved or certified business, if we can get veterans in to actually go out and come back into our community, that's our goal. We're working on re-employing the retired people into the community and getting them engaged again. That's part of the process with the talent. But we also have a voice in our community of the positive psychology. That also comes in for our businesses, as that is an aspect to make people happy at their employment, and that's a benefit to the business side, not just the recruitment, but also helping the businesses as a whole. And then our attraction plan that will be rolling out in 2019 of how we are going to attract employees. One of the things that have been mentioned to us, an idea, is going to all the fort bases in where veterans are actually coming out of the services and going to the forts and actually asking them to come see Midland, Michigan, and have this as a place that they can take their expertise and start to work. So that's just an example of how we will be working with talent to further attracting them. So this is very small. You don't have to read it. You will actually see some of these metrics next year or mid-year when we come back and give you an update. But in strategy 2, which I work on, and Tony and 4 other staff, we have engaged 15 committee members that are off the MBA board, and we're bringing them together to ask them, what is it that businesses from all different angles want to see us measuring? Internally, we measure what are the trends from a retention visit. What are the top 3 trends that are the barriers, and we focus on them. But what is the growth? What is the growth of our members on the chamber side? What are our small service businesses facing that we need to do? So we are just taking all of our things that we have to work on, putting them into a document, and starting that data mining internally for the County of Midland. So this is just a snapshot. It may change when we come back, but these are the types of things that our committee will be working on and providing to the community. And as a reminder, a lot of people wonder what it is that we do. How do we deliver our wins, and what do we do? One of the things through and through, it's very critical that we keep our confidentiality of our clients. And so we are going to continue to do that, but we are going to provide metrics that you will understand, that you can use, and that you see that there are results happening in the County of Midland. So that's just a snapshot that I've been using as I've been out talking to people, that I can give you data and stuff, but I still have to protect the confidentiality of the clients. And so this is the last slide. Instead of saying thank you, have a good day, we figured we'd give you a visual of what it is the Midland Business Alliance looks like. We are actually coming together and bringing so many resources into one business here, and that's our hub to deliver the success for our community. So with that, if there's any questions, Tony will answer them.
Any questions? I have one. How much room's left in the Innovation Center for, if we had a new startup that wanted to take up space there? Is there?
Yep, there
20
is about,
spots?
I would say, 11 spots, because
Okay.
I just put a lead in there yesterday.
Good.
So,
And I think we can be creative there. So
Yes.
we want to have that problem.
Okay, that's a good
We're
problem.
trying to figure out space.
What is a spot? A desk, basically?
Yeah,
Okay.
a physical spot to kind of set up and, anymore, we can, our address book, our phones are all with us, but just a physical spot for people to set up and kind of call a home base outside of home. And also an opportunity to interconnect with other entrepreneurs. Oftentimes that's where some of the more creative ideas come up with. So, and then we put programming in there as well. It really kind of gives them the basic. We're doing free Fridays in February where they can come in. There's no charge for Friday, and it's a minimal charge anyways, but no charge. And for startups, for 3 Fridays, we have an attorney coming in to kind of give advice on at no charge on some basic startup questions.
That's good.
So, sort of the white elephant question, I find myself taking my dollars out of the community for retail services, not so much restaurant, and I really appreciate that you're working on that. Is that something that is that beyond your focus? Because I understand that those are major big box stores, and I'd like to be spending all my dollars here.
Yeah, I think that's a shared sentiment, and so yeah, that definitely
Of course it
is our focus, and it isn't just a Midland challenge. This summer, my wife and I went up to Traverse City, and you look at their mall, and that's something we're seeing
They've
all
got
around.
some problems there too.
We're seeing that all around the country, so it's
Yeah.
not unique. But I say that, but then this community is creative. We've got such tremendous support that we've come up with ideas. You can get a lot of support for something. People are going to put you through the paces and make sure you have a plan and you've kind of got your T's crossed and your I's dotted. But so yeah, that is key. When we look at the mall, when we look at that area, there's still a lot of really strong, vibrant businesses. But what's the model look like? Becky talked about that 5 years, 10 years from now. And let's be ahead of that. Let's not have to say, well, you know what they're doing, that's a good idea.
Benchmark where the success is and how are you doing it.
Let's have them look at Midland and say,
Wonderful.
we need to follow that path.
Yeah, very good, thank you.
Any other questions? Commissioner
I
Nelson?
just have a question. I'm not sure how to ask it. I have an idea for a nonprofit organization. Now, I assume that you're supporting businesses both for-profit and not-for-profit?
Yes,
Okay.
we have members that in all those sectors.
Okay, so I'm going to come into the Innovation Center and talk to you.
Wonderful. We'd love to have that conversation.
All right.
Good, that's great.
Mr.
Any
Chair,
other questions?
We take seriously the investment. We know that, I've had a chance to sit there a few years back where you're sitting, and, in terms of. A few. I'm gonna stay with that, a few.
The fact that you said it doesn't help.
I'll say it too. The elephant in the room.
But I know how seriously
I
you take.
forgot, that's right.
Representing the dollars of our taxpayers, and we take that seriously. We want to make sure that, as Becky said, we're giving you objective criteria in terms of how we're doing that and making sure that we're showing a return in terms of that investment. So we look forward to working with you. We're honored to have 2 individuals here representing the county on our MBA board, but we want to make sure we keep that conversation. And anytime you have questions or concerns, please just reach out to us.
Thank you both very
Thank you.
much, and exciting stuff that you've got going on, so.
So much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is public comment on anything that is not on today's agenda. Do we have any public comment? Seeing none, will you read committee report number 1, please, John?
Dated February 1st, 2019, properly addressed, ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance Committee and the Human Services Committee recommend receiving and filing the letter dated March 1st, 2018, from the superintendents of Bullock Creek, Meridian Public, and Coleman Schools requesting that the county provide 3 school resource officers and place 1 in each school district. Respectively submitted, Scott Nelson, Eric Dorian, Kay Twilliger, Steve Glazer, and Jeanette Snyder, Finance Committee and Human Services Committee.
Commissioner Nelson?
I just wanted to clarify, that's on a consent item. You don't need to read that.
Boy, I guess I'm sorry, it was supposed to be on the consent agenda, but I didn't go for a motion to approve the consent agenda, so we could do that and not vote on it if we could get a motion.
I move to approve all the items on the consent agenda.
Do we have support? Support. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. John, please read report number 2.
Actually, number 1.
Number 1.
Now it is number 1, yes. We got 2 number 1s. Consent.
This one.
Yep, you're going to go on to 7/1/19. Yep, that's it.
Perfect. Dated February 1st, 2019, properly addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Administration and Operations Committee, recommend approval of the agreement between the County of Midland and Dykema Gossett PLLC to provide labor representation services. The term of this agreement is from January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2021. Respectfully submitted, Scott Nosen, Eric Dorian, Administration and Operations Committee.
Commissioner Nosen?
Mr. Chairman, the Administration and Operations Committee recommends approval of Agenda Item 7-1-19.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Any commissioner discussion? John, call roll, please.
Commissioner Geisler? Commissioner Dorian?
Yes.
Commissioner Nosen?
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Glazer?
Yes.
Commissioner Terwilliger?
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes. Committee report number 2, please.
Dated February 1st, 2019, to the properly addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Administration and Operations Committee, recommend approval of the agreement between the County of Midland and Lawrence William Smith, Jr. of the law firm of Gilbert and Smith, P.C. The term of this agreement is from January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2019, with automatic renewal for 3 successive periods. Respectively submitted, signed by Scott Nosen, Eric Dorian, Administration and Operations Committee.
Commissioner Nosen?
Mr. Chairman, the Administrations and Operations Committee recommends adoption of Agenda Item 8-1-19.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Any commissioner discussion? John, call roll, please.
Commissioner Dorian?
Yes.
Commissioner Nosen?
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Glazer?
Yes.
Commissioner Terwilliger?
Yes.
Commissioner Geisler? Chairman Bone.
Yes. Committee report number 3, please.
Dated February 1st, 2019, properly addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Administration and Operations Committee and the Finance Committee, have reviewed the request to approve the receipt of a grant in the amount of $10,000 from the Mary C. Curie Foundation. This grant award will be utilized towards the development of a concessions alcove at Sanford Lake Park. We recommend the approval of the grant and that the Administrator Controller be authorized to make the necessary budget adjustments. Respectively submitted, Scott Nosen, James Geisler, Eric Dorian, Jeanette Snyder, Administration and Operations Committee and Finance Committee.
Commissioner Nosen?
Mr. Chairman, the Administration Operations Committee and the Finance Committee recommend adoption of Agenda Item 6-1-19.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Any commissioner discussion? John, call roll, please.
Commissioner Nosen?
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder?
Yes.
Commissioner Glazer?
Yes.
Commissioner Terwilliger?
Yes.
Commissioner Geisler? Commissioner Dorian?
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes. Committee report number 4, please.
Dated February 1st, 2019, and properly addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Administration and Operations Committee, the Finance Committee, and the Human Services Committee reviewed the request to approve a grant agreement between the County of Midland and the Michigan Veterans Affairs Agency to cover the cost of a new position, Veterans Service Counselor. This position is recommended at 1.0 FTE for the 2018-2019 grant cycle, but can fluctuate to less than 1.0 FTE in subsequent years, dependent upon available grant funding. It is also our recommendation to approve this agreement and to authorize the Administrator Controller to make any necessary budget adjustments. Respectively submitted, Scott Nosen, James Geisler, Eric Dorian, Jeanette Snyder, Gay Terwilliger, and Steve Glazer. The Administration and Operations Committee, Finance Committee, and Human Services Committee.
Commissioner Nosen?
Mr. Chairman, the Administration and Operations Committee and the Finance Committee recommend adoption of Agenda Item 122-11-18.
Commissioner Dorian?
Mr. Chairman, the Human Services Committee also recommends adoption of Agenda Item 122-11-18.
Do we have any public comment on this item? Any commissioner discussion?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Glazer?
Yes, I'd just like to remind us that this, as it pointed out, year by year, the amount of the grant may change, so it could be variable in the full-time equivalent and presence of benefits or not. This year, we were awarded more money than we had anticipated originally, and also that this position is dependent upon ongoing funding from this grant. So I just want to make sure that that stays fresh in our minds.
Thank you. Any other commissioner discussion? John, call roll, please.
Commissioner Glazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Terwilliger,
Yes.
Commissioner Geisler, Commissioner Dorian,
Yes.
Commissioner Noson,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes. Committee report number 5, please.
Dated February 1st, 2019, and properly addressed to the Honorable Chairman and members of the Commissioners. Ladies and gentlemen, we, your Finance Committee, recommend approval of the request to purchase a new cube van for the Facilities Department with the purchase price not to exceed $40,000. We further recommend that the Administrator Controller be authorized to make the necessary budget adjustment. Respectfully submitted, Scott Noson, James Geiser, Jeanette Snyder, the Finance Committee.
Commissioner Nelson.
Mr. Chairman, the Finance Committee recommends adoption of Agenda Item 4-1-19.
Do we have any public comment on this? Any commissioner discussion? Yes, let's start with Commissioner Snyder and then Commissioner Terwilliger.
So I think the research done on this was great. I did just want to make a note, it was already budgeted for. We're just going to increase the budgeted item by a small amount to get a new van versus a used van. So a win-win situation here.
Thank you. Commissioner Terwilliger?
So I'll probably ask this of Kevin. What is a cube van? And this is a different purchase. I'm not on finance. And so just kind of want to know what a cube van is. I think I know what it is, but.
It's a van to ship cubes.
Exactly. A cube van is, think of it like a U-Haul truck or a rental truck. It's a folding door with a lift gate on the back. Our department
The lift
uses-
gate is what you're seeking.
Yes.
Yep,
And the
okay.
enclosed storage inside. We live in Michigan where it's cold most of the time. We haul equipment, furniture that we just don't want snow and rain and whatnot on. So
Very good.
it's a utility vehicle that doesn't get a lot of mileage, but gets almost
Definitely a
shuffling
purpose.
stuff from one building to another.
Thank you. Any other questions? Nope. John, call roll, please. Thanks, Kevin.
Commissioner Glazer,
Yes.
Commissioner Terwilliger,
Yes.
Commissioner Geisler, Commissioner Dorian,
Yes.
Commissioner Noson,
Yes.
Commissioner Snyder,
Yes.
Chairman Bone.
Yes. Okay, that's it for our standing committee reports. We do not have any RPCs today. We do not have any old business today. I am not aware of any new business. So basically, we're going to go right on to commissioner comments, and we're going to start with Commissioner Terwilliger today.
I don't have any comment.
No comment. Commissioner Dorian?
I'd just like to thank the Mary C. Curry Foundation for their grant monies, and also want to thank our employees that were, that had to come in on our snow event and get payroll and do all the business that needed to carry on, even though the county was closed. Thank you, employees.
Yes. Very much so. Commissioner Noson?
I would also like to thank the employees, but maybe for a slightly different reason, to acknowledge the fact that the county won the social media award versus the city. I'm not sure what the vote was, but. Commissioner Administrator, could you please enlighten us?
Hold, please. We won by having, let's see, whoops. Why can't, let me turn my wireless off and then I'll actually be able to get on here. So we had 280, hold. Come on, load. We had 291 likes versus 225 hearts. So we won.
I acknowledge both employees and actually the community, so it wasn't
Yeah.
just employees, but.
Right.
And just so you know, the whole purpose of that was to have a little fun with the city and on Super Bowl weekend and really increase our exposure on social media. So, and we did. We actually had an additional 300 likes this past week.
It's a win-win.
Part of it was because of snowpocalypse.
We can build on that and do future
Yeah.
events too.
Right. So it was a lot of fun.
Winter.
Thank you.
That's a half.
Commissioner Snyder?
I'd just like to echo Commissioner Dorian, and we did have our the whole finance department was here getting things done, so greatly appreciated. And just thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Glazer?
Yes, I would like to echo Scott's remarks about the foundation, the grant, and for our staff to take the initiative to apply and undertake developing a concession, food concession at Sanford Lake Park. We certainly hope it is a genuine service to the community, and we thank the foundation for their generosity and their trust in this group. So thank you.
Thank you. And I'm just going to echo the same thing. The Curry Foundation, all the foundations that are just so wonderful. The courthouse, everything they've done, not just the courthouse. There's been so many things, the fourth floor. So anyhow, we appreciate everything we get from the foundations, and makes this county a great county. So let's move on to meeting schedules, and we'll start with Commissioner Twilliger.
I will, really, this week's a pretty quiet week. I will have Mount Haley and Ingersoll Townships next Monday night. Tuesday is executive. I have a Pinecrest Union meeting next Wednesday, the 13th, and also Midland Township that night. On the 14th, I have drug court followed by another Pinecrest. That's just the board meeting. And on the 18th, I have senior services, and I believe that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Dorian.
Human Services is scheduled to meet on Monday, the 11th at 2 o'clock in the first floor conference room. That is all I have.
Commissioner Nelson.
Yeah, on Friday, the MAC Environmental Committee is meeting at 10 a.m. Just prior to that, I'm going to be meeting with the new director of the DEQ, which is now not the DEQ anymore. If you've read some of the work that Ms. Whitmer is up to, we now, I don't even know what, it's the Department of Environment, Great Lakes, and Water Sources, something like that. I don't know. But it is giving some very specific notice to our Great Lakes and also some of the water issues that we have, PFAS included. There's going to be a special committee on that. The Finance Committee will meet at 1:30. I think Jim is going to be gone on executive committee. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Is that me then?
That is you.
Okay, so that's going to meet at 9 a.m. Health and Human Services on the 13th at 9:30. We do have probate court negotiations on the 14th at 10 a.m. And then just to let you know, I will be leaving from the 16th through the 27th, so I will be missing both the Finance Committee and the board meeting in the next 2 weeks. I will be on vacation in sunny Scottsdale. Thank you.
Oh.
And then, yes, Commissioner
Could I ask a
Twilliger?
question, Scott? I personally find it really interesting. You're one committee that you sit in, Water, Natural Resources.
Yep.
And is that a fairly new appointment?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so.
It's a brand new committee.
I find it would be really interesting for you to give us a report, perhaps late next fall, arranged by Jessica at a time that that would work, and if that would be okay.
Happy to do that.
I think that would be really interesting. I would personally find it very interesting.
I will be very
It's a
candid.
personal
At this
interest
point
for
in
me.
time, it's been a lot of pomp and circumstance and
Okay,
not a whole lot of substance.
Good to
yet,
know.
But if I have anything to do with it, that's going to
well,
change.
when you get some substance, we'd like to hear about it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Commissioner Glazer.
Yes, sir. Wednesday, the 6th at 7 o'clock. That would be tomorrow night. Parks and Recreation here at the County Services Building. Next Monday, the 11th, I have Human Services at 2 o'clock and Lee Township Board meeting at 7 o'clock. Tuesday, the 12th, Greendale and Jasper Townships. The County Fair Board also meets, so I think we need to have a little bit of direction about, the focus, if you want me to continue with the Fair Board or not. And then Thursday, the 14th, District 3 will be having a quad meeting where members of all of the different township boards come together for dinner and a program.
What's that date?
And that would be Thursday, the 14th. And I think Porter may be hosting that, I'm not sure. So, thank you.
Thank you. And I have a couple meetings next week, but I have prior commitments. I cannot make them, so I have nothing to announce before the next Board of Commissioners meeting. Bridget?
Just a reminder, the MBA annual meeting is this Thursday night.
Yes, Thursday at 4:30, the Midland Business Alliance, 4:30 to 6:30. Commissioner Snyder? Pardon me?
Oh, I just didn't get a chance to go. Would you like
Oh,
me
I
to go?
passed you?
Yeah?
Yes, I would like you to go. Sorry about that.
Oops, thanks. So on the 6th, we have Parks and Rec, and it'll be here. And on the 7th, I have LEPC. On the 13th, Jerome Township. And the 18th, Warren Township. And I do find it interesting, Scott, your appointment and being on the SLIB and the Wixom Board and the Sanford Lake Association. I would just like to stay involved. If you think any of that information would be important for me, I'd appreciate it.
It is interesting. I'll just make one point that it's mostly about fresh water, sewers, storms, but somebody actually did bring up the case of dams and very specific reference to what's going on in Sanford as well. So
Well, we also have the concern for the farm field runoff and phosphorus, so I find it's all very, is that included?
it is not.
Okay. All right, thanks.
This is about infrastructure. So dams are included, but agricultural runoff, it's important, but not part of that committee.
That's all, thanks.
That's it? Okay, and obviously I've already went, so that's the end of the business for the day.
Move to adjourn.
Support.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, the same. This meeting is adjourned until Tuesday, February 12th, 2019, to meet in an executive session of the Board of Commissioners and for the committees to resume their duties. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, ready for some writers' cramp.